Come here now, girl.
Hello and welcome to What's Map, your one-stop shop for everything workshop. I'm BonBonB and you're very, very welcome. Right, we've already had a real life location map this week, and I'll tell you what, it was exceptional. Today we have another real life location map. Can it possibly live up to the standards of its predecessor? Well, spoiler alert, the answer's no, but it does make a really valiant effort. This is not a bad map, especially when you consider
it's my first map.
That's right. So, if you're interested in a map that's not quite finely polished, that you can clean up as you're going along without too much difficulty, this could be the one for you. But before we get on to map reviews, I've got a job for those really experienced What's Mappers out there, and maybe something for you others to practice. That's right, hitting that like button really does support the channel, gets me seen by more people and helps me grow a little bit more every single day. Thank you for your support. Today's map is Voronezh Reservoir by Vladimir.a.kozhevnikov. Yes, I've been practicing. From now on, Vladimir, or possibly just Vlad until the end of the show. There's your start square. There's a tiny pinch of water in the corner. Just a tiny pinch. That's probably going to upset some people. We've got terrain heights, which are pretty reasonable. I've got to say, they look very playable indeed, real life location and all. Resources, farming around the outside of your city, even a bit of ore around the outside of your city. Fishing, if you have Sunset Harbour and you want to do some fishing, we have salmon and anchovies. Okay. And what about heading off to the workshop? Well, the answer is let's do it. Let's do it. No DLC is required today. We've got a nicely written short description there, which I'm very pleased with. And then we do have a one-click collection. Now, the one-click collection isn't the smallest. It's not the longest. I would say it's possibly a bit bigger than it needs to be. A more experienced creator could have probably created the. I mean, we've got a lot of custom roads here. I guess in replacing the network extensions. I guess this is all good. So if you don't mind that, that's fine. Now, a little show of this. Once it loaded, there's a couple of things missing for network skins. So if you use network skins, you might have a couple of bits missing when you load the map up. Right, so let's start off by pointing out the obvious. Yes, we do have a few trees on the roads, and yes, we've covered this a few times. But for those of you who are a little bit glitching along the sides of the highways there, a little bit of a divot going on there. This is making it look like a bad map. It really isn't. Please roll with me. A blue mantle is very notable on the map as well. So yeah, trees on the highway. You notice most of these highways though are clear. So the highways have on the whole been clear, and that one was right on the edge of the map. But for those of you wanting to know what's going on with trees on the highway, we're talking about a mod called Anarchy, which allows you to put buildings and props and trees where you wouldn't normally be able to place buildings and props and trees. It's really good for detailers, and there are a lot of map makers out there who want to put maybe, let's say, some foliage on an old rail track or something like that to make it look like an abandoned rail track, which you couldn't normally do. The bridges here aren't quite. We've got one which is slightly back bridge, one completely flat there. So there's lots of little minor tweaks that can be made as you're going along. How long will that take with Move It to fix? No time at all. But I need to show you these things. Heading through towards the start square. It's going to take a little while. In fact, we're going to loop around and come back to the start square. There's a river. You saw the river, or reservoir, I guess. We're going to go around the head of the reservoir. It's going to take a little bit. It's a journey. Hey, listen, we can enjoy the journey together. But yes, so yes, trees on the road. I have the mod set so that these trees show automatically. Oh, this is a marshy area here, which I feel needs some more water in it, because we have all these divots dug out to allow. You can see some areas we have water, some areas we don't. So a little bit more water, maybe some spawn points, water sources in each of those marshy type pits. And I think that would look just a little bit better. If you're going to more, so some areas where we have the trees on the road, and some areas where they've been cleared. Now you'll know that Cities Skylines does have limits, the maximum number of trees on the map and so forth. And any trees hidden underneath roads still exist actually within the tree count. So if you're a detailer wanting to place like say 20,000 trees. Oh, this bridge is a bit clunky, by the way. Let me show you this. So come over here. We've got a very steep incline here. Again, taken from the real life location and just not quite finely polished. Not quite. Does it matter? Does it? I mean, I'm asking you, does it matter? To some, yes it does. This bridge is a little bit wonky as well. One side's just a little bit higher than the other, a little bit of blue mantle there as well. Again, something like that doesn't take very long to fix with Move It. The Move It align tool, just select one, select the other, click enter, boom. It's all balanced out. It's all balanced out for you. But yeah, do these things matter? Trees under the road, I think they do, even if oh, we've got a little bit of blue mantle where the roads just split a little bit there. And blue mantle there, and blue mantle on the other side. Blue mantle tutorial. I've really got to make a blue mantle tutorial intermission. I'll get around to that one, along with all the other things I plan on getting around to eventually. Again, this is just one of those things, isn't it? Anyway, yes, so we're heading across the map, and on the whole, I mean, I'm showing a lot of things to grumble about, and I'll just say that things like the intersection here, it's just a bit clunky. It's just a bit clunky. It's not bad, and by old school, and by old school I mean 2017 standards, these are great. These are great. That intersection, by old school standards, of course, things have come along a bit, but of course, if you're new to the game, you've still to learn all of those newfangled mods, all the new standards and such. So there's a lot to learn. There's a whole bunch to take on board. A little bit of separating of the rail from the terrain there as well, just a tiny bit, which would show blue mantle from a distance. Still heading up across the environment. We're going to cross the rail here and head on this way. Again, the road and rail network, I've had a quick look at the location. It does seem to be a fairly accurate representation of the layout. So again, a lot of time goes into placing all these roads down in terms of placement accuracy. Again, we've got a few areas where the trees weren't cleared, and again, that's just a bulldozer. Bulldozer costs nothing, you know that. You know that. Or again, if you have Anarchy switched off, that's another thing. I did see somebody, I don't remember who it was, in the comments a couple of days ago, one of the regulars, so yeah, I do read these comments, I do, and suggesting that these should be switched off. Oh, here's the dam at the head of the reservoir. You're not going to get any power out of this, and I think the water could be a bit higher on this side to at least make it look like the water is coming through. And this sea wall that we're using here, we've got some quite intense zigzagging going on there, and a little bit of blue mantle where the reservoir meets up back with the road. So a few minor adjustments to be made to clear those things out. But yes, to say, missing intersection. Now, this is where I think some of those network skins things are missing. Yeah, you'll have to turn around and go back, my friend. That road isn't completed. Yeah, you're going to want to plop down an intersection. So there might be one or two things missing, possibly. Or maybe that job wasn't finished, which is also a possibility. But yeah, asking every detailer to include the requirement for Anarchy and putting the Anarchy settings in, I think it's asking a lot. I think it could well be asking a lot, and given that these trees are part of the tree count, I think it is actually relevant to make a point of showing them if they're underneath the roads. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to continue doing it. I think it's important. Again, another batch of trees. If you were to count all of these trees, I mean, I reckon there's going to be, yeah, maybe several hundred, maybe 1,000 underneath the highways and the byways and stuff. And that could make the difference if you're getting close to the tree count limit and don't have the unlimited tree mod. And on some maps where you are using the unlimited tree mod and you are into the millions, Well, I think this is actually very relevant indeed. And in fact, if you're using mods to have extra trees, like they're clinging onto the cliff, they're not a big fan of that. If you're using mods to actually permit extra trees, well, as a mod user, I think you probably are going to be using Anarchy anyway. So there are lots of things to consider anyway. There are lots of things to consider. Tough choice. It's my show. If enough people tell me I'm wrong, then I'll accept that one. But yes, we have certainly in the past reviewed maps that have had detailing missing because at the time I forgot to have the Anarchy switched off or on to allow for that detailing to show. And so I know there are people that actually suffered the other way in the past. I'd rather those really beautiful maps that have got the extra detailing, I'd rather not miss the detailing on those maps. And more inexperienced creators that have got trees under the road, I'd rather they were shown that they need to remove them. I think that's important. Right, okay, we do have various rail lines on this map, as you probably would expect, because, well, I mean, we're in European Russia, and we're on the rail, so follow the rail, BonBon. I nearly followed the road then. I got confused. What's going on? The crisscrossing of the road and the rail. It's too much for my little head. There's some gradient issues with the rail, which again is fine tuning, or maybe you don't care, and that's fine if you don't care. Then it's, again, I've said it before and I'll say it again, we're not playing Transport Fever here. The trains in this game do not care. They'll go up the side of a mountain very happily indeed. It just looks a bit silly. And so gradients that I feel that can be spotted visually are too steep. And there are one or two gradients on this map which can be spotted visually that makes them too steep. And a few trees on the branch line there which you may have spotted. Right, heading towards the edge of the map. Are we heading towards the edge of the map? I think we've still got a way to go. Right, so we're going to come back on the second half of the show and we'll have a look at the shipping and stuff. A quick reminder though, if you haven't already hit the notification bell, now is a great time to do it. I've got a 1 hour special coming up on Sunday where I'll be fixing the river on a map that we saw very recently on WhatsApp that had a few water flow problems, some lumpy water. So yes, do watch out for that one. That'll be Sunday afternoon UK time. Put aside an hour for it. I think you will appreciate it. It's all recorded as live as well, so you're going to get to see the warts and all of BonBon struggling with water flow. Yeah, so anyway, yeah, let's head off now towards the edge of the map. We'll come back for the shipping and for the water flow and for a quick look at some of the other features in today's map.
Have you ever wondered why the traffic AI is so bad in this game? Why do all those cars all want to use the same lane? Then you need BonBonB's Guide to Traffic AI. Click the information button now.
Back to Voronezh Reservoir by vladimir.a.kozhevnikov. And we have no shipping routes, which makes perfect sense on this particular reservoir map. We do have air routes, which bend and twist and cross over a little bit. But no steep bends or anything like that. Yeah, I think the planes are going to look fairly sensible on this map. So if that's what you're looking for, you should be very happy indeed. Look, the route goes on and on and on. A bit like me. Right, water flow. Did somebody say water flow? Let's have a look at water flow. Right, it's a reservoir, okay? Which could be concerning and worrying because the water flow doesn't look very strong. Let's head down towards the start square area, which would be about here. And you can see we've got a spawn point in there, I think, with the water just dragging a little bit towards it. And then over here you can see we've got a bit of water flow coming through here. There is some light water flow and I think you're going to just about get away with it. But you'd be buying the second tile to actually get hold of that first before you can do any real work. Now, one thing I forgot to cover at the start of the show is theme and LUT. Now, this map does have a custom theme, but it's not listed in the requirements. Nice looking forests, by the way. It's not listed in the requirements. And it's not one of the over 100 themes that I have on my system, and I've got all of the popular ones. So I've got no idea which theme is meant to be. I've got some migrating trees here that have their trunks on as they're crossing the river. So yes, if you're wanting the original theme, I don't know what it is. We are using the vanilla temperate theme here, and again, no LUT has been requested or suggested, so we're using the realistic 1.2. I should have started with that. I normally start with that at the start of the show, don't I? But there we go. So yes, we a vanilla theme and a very vanilla-y style LUT, and the map still looks very strong for it. So I think there's credit to be given for that. The forests look really amazing. Remembering we do have quite a large requirement list, but a lot of those are actually the road networks that have been used, and I think the road networks look pretty good over here as well. I've got a few rocks as well for the quarry, and the quarry looks very nice too. Bit of rocking and holding going on there. And then if we head up this way towards we've got some fields up this way. I think the fields look good. We've got a nod to hedgerows with the fields without them being too intensely detailed, which I quite like. The reservoir looks good in terms of gameplay. Lots of buildable space alongside the reservoir once you buy in and buy those tiles. Right, we've got these today. As we're in Russia, I figured we'd do an American invasion. It's the American Elm by MrMaison. MrMaison, all of the trees, and of course, I mean, these are great. These are very nice indeed. I see these more actually within the city for a little bit of like park detailing, that kind of thing, rather than out in the environment. But that's just my opinion. Factoids, because factoids. And now, any of my viewers from Australia, if you could let me know in the comments if this is true, because I'm only reading what it says. While they consider defecating to be socially acceptable, the Australian Aborigines will not allow themselves to be seen eating in public. So it's they can poo in the street. Not saying they would, not saying they're dirty, but say they're publicly poo, but they won't publicly eat. Is that correct? Well, that's what it says in this book. My apologies if it's wrong. American Elm by MrMaison. Today's asset of the day. I'll say that again. Today's asset of the day. I got my pacing very badly wrong there. Right, okay, so what do you think of today's map? Is it a 1-star map? Is it a 5-star map? Is it somewhere in between? Your vote really does count. We use it at the end of the month for the Viewer's Choice Top 10. Will this be one of the top 10 maps of the month? Only you can decide. Hit the I button now in the top right corner of your screen. It'll take you to the voting page where you can vote for free with a Facebook, Gmail, Apple, or a free Patreon account. Right, what do I think of today's map? I think it's okay. I think it's so. Considering it's a my first map, this is very, very solid indeed. Aesthetically, I think it does the job. Remembering that we haven't got the right theme. That is the creator's fault. It needs to be listed. So we haven't got the right theme, so we don't know how glorious this map could be. But I think it's solid, and I'm going to go down, actually just slightly down the middle, just over middle 3. Detailing, I think the standards are pretty good. There's a lot of little things that need fixing. I don't want to drop it into 2 stars though, so I'm going to go for a very low 3 stars. Gameplay potential. I think if there was more access to water in the start square, we'd be looking at 4 stars here. There isn't, so I'm going to go for a medium-high 3. So map says to me gameplay potential. But it doesn't really suck me in and say you have to play me tomorrow. So there we go. Voronezh Reservoir by vladimir.a.kozhevnikov. I did that without it being on screen. I remembered your name. I'm getting good at this, Lark. Tomorrow will be a disaster. Anyway, thank you very much for watching, for commenting, for liking, and for subscribing. We'll be back tomorrow with another map in the What's Map series. And if you are still here, you're just in time to use the word of the day in the comments for 100 population points, just for fun. And yeah, we'll do the whole thing again tomorrow. Thanks anyway. I'll see you. Well, see you this afternoon maybe. Coffee, anybody?